This is QTV News. I am Answana Esonyasi and thanks for joining us. Coming up, thousands of Gambians paid their last respect to former President Sadauda Kairaba Jawara as he was laid to rest this evening. The man, described by many as the father of the nation, died at the age of 95 on Tuesday. After what appears to be a serious failure when a loaded truck almost plunged into the river amid a broken ramp at the Banjul Ferry Terminal on Wednesday, the Gambia Ports Authority dismissed social media comments saying it is not as serious as thought. And Gambia's national team coach unveils his squad to face Angola in a World Cup qualifier. There is still no place for Modou Barrow, Babukar Steve Trawale and Hamza Bari. Stay tuned as we bring you more on these and other stories. Today, the Gambia said goodbye to its favorite son and founding father. Sadauda Kairaba Jawara was laid to rest this evening. His body was taken from the King Fahad Mosque to the National Assembly, which will be his final resting place. Throughout the day, dignitaries and people from all walks of life came to pay their respects. And here are some of the videos of people saying what Sadauda meant to them.
I will thank the Almighty Allah because He doesn't do wrong things. He has given Sadauda Jawara everything in this world. He has given him fame, wealth, and above all leadership. I met Sadauda Jawara when I was very young. Then I was with my father and haven't started music. He came to my village with the Queen. Sadauda Jawara is a unique man with no buts. He is a good man and he has enlightened me with positive things and encouraged me in my music career. He is a man that believes in democracy, and Gambia has lost a great man. When Sadauda Kairaba Jawara started PPP, his name was David Kwesi Jawara. Then politics only stopped in the Greater Banjul area. My father was amongst the people that formed the PPP political party. They fought so hard to make this country stand on its own. He is a great man and has lived long. The only person I can remember that is still alive amongst the people that formed PPP is Yaya Cisse. But most of the people he started the party with are dead. When I heard of his death during an event in Birkama, we were all very sad because it's a great loss to this nation. He is the father of the nation. Sadauda Kairaba Jawara is a great man and he ruled this country. And leadership is not easy. Let's all forgive him and pray for him, so the mercies of the Almighty will be on him.
Jawara kabiri 1964. Jawara benyo 62.
Since 1964, I have been following him. I was a big fan of Jawara. He is a good man. He is honest and he contributed a lot to the attainment of our country's independence. When he was overthrown, it pained me a lot. We had a personal relationship, but this is life. We will all die someday. Jawara is a good man. Yes, a very honest man.
Because time when upon president, they could be the for young everything for the young.
What he has done for the country is too much. When he was in power, everything was cheap. Price of rice, oil, etc. We cannot count all his achievements honestly. We will always celebrate him.
Jawara's death is deeply felt by all. He was a good man and has done a lot for the Gambia over the 33 years he had served. We can never forget him. I'm just praying that he is now in a better place.
Gambia manu alinga mario tendu sanyi mu anilulu batambida de alingaira.
The management of the Gambia Ports Authority Ferry Services have dismissed reports making rounds on social media that the ramp of the ferry broke down, resulting to an accident with a loaded truck on Wednesday evening. Our Babukar C visited the crossing point earlier on Thursday morning to find out what exactly transpired. And here is his report.
Social media reports on Wednesday showed pictures and videos of a loaded truck with bag of cement struggling to disembark from the Kunta Kinte ferry when the lander unfortunately disjointed from the ferry. The Deputy Managing Director of the Gambia Ports Authority Ferry Services told QTV in an exclusive interview that the news making rounds on social media that the ram broke down is unfounded, as the operation took less than 3 hours for work to resume. He, however, put blame on the truck driver for not adhering to the instruction being given to him.
One of the trucks was disembarking on board Kunta Kinte ferry, and that the driver, normally we have what we call a source supervisor who supervises all the loadings of the ferry and also give advice to drivers when they are disembarking from the ferry. In this particular case, the driver was being given guidance by the source supervisor and he was not attentive. Because he was not attentive, most part of the truck was on board the lander. Because, you know, when you are disembarking the ferry, it's like downhill. You are going downhill. And there's an interface between the lander and the ferry. So you must always listen to the source supervisor to get it right for these big trucks. So the driver was not attentive. Then that caused a problem. The ferry disjointed with the lander. And then the lander always rests on the ferry. You know, it's suspended, but once the ferry comes, manually, you know, they turn it down, it rests on the ferry. So in this case, when the ferry disjointed, the lander went down with the truck. No, the operation to salvage took us almost 2 hours, 30 minutes, between 2 and 3 hours. We were able to, because the truck was having 500 bags of cement, you know, so because the rear part was hanging on the ferry, we have to engage key labor to discharge some of these, you know, bags of cement. So when that was done, we had to tow the vehicle with 2 heavy-duty trucks and then it was pulled out.
The Deputy Managing Director, Hali Gay, was however quick to rubbish a recent dilapidated toilet picture making headlines on social media, saying it does not belong to the ferry service.
I must take this opportunity to say that there was a toilet shown on the social media that never belongs to us. Yes, that toilet never belongs to us. It's not one of our toilets. At the ferry services, you can go and check all our toilets. You don't have that kind of a toilet in all our ferry services. So we have a departure hall. And that departure hall, we make sure that the conditions are good. It's clean regularly. And, besides that, to keep people there waiting, we have put televisions with satellite, show them they are informed in terms of news. We also have a PA system at the terminal. It's the drainage system of the Banjo. The water is not going. It's the drainage system. The road is good, but the drainage system has a problem. That is access to the terminal, going to the terminal. You have that flood. I'm sure, the relevant institutions will be, they are working on it to make sure that this is addressed.
Mr. Gay also revealed to QTV that the ferry services is working on renewing the lander at both ends of Banjul and Bara. Babu Karsi, QTV News.
And we now take a short commercial break. The news continues when we return.
Light. From the beginning of time, light has been there.
It is integral to our survival and to our way of living.
We need light to work,
to build,
to grow things, and even to see our loved ones.
Light makes things easier and better.
So QCell has changed the way you buy Q-Power to make it easier and more accessible.
You can now access the same service quickly and get your cash power tokens instantly with the new QCell Q-Power code.
To light up your world, simply dial *363#.
With the touch of your fingers,
with ease and convenience from the comfort of your home or office,
you can bring light into your world instantly with *363#.
Q-Power, lighting your world.
QCell Sunyabus.
We innovate, others follow.
It is the new era in broadcasting. We showed it to you with our continuously improving content, with thousands of viewers around the world. Now, how do you take advantage of our existing and constantly increasing viewership? Advertise with QTV and reach a large audience. Call us on 3244 or email marketing@qtv.gm. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter or Instagram. QTV Gambia. QTV, a new era in broadcasting.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is QTV News. Security sector reform is an integral component of any country's peace agenda. And as such, stakeholders, with support from the EU, Tuesday held a forum for dialogue on enhancing the understanding and addressing some of the main challenges with the Gambia's SSR process, pertaining to right-sizing, executive-level decision-making, and resource management. Esajani reports.
After 22 years of authoritarian rule, security and rule of law institutions of the Gambia continue to face deep entrenched governance challenges. Gambian people were subjected to an abusive state security apparatus characterized by arbitrary arrest, tortures, harassment, and extrajudicial killings. The past regime exhibited clear absence of adequate governance, as the country's security sector was grounded essentially on oppression and submission. Security sector reform is an integral component in any nation's peace agenda. A forum for dialogue on directing security reform in the Gambia, funded by the European Union, held on Tuesday, aims on boosting the understanding of some of the main challenges within the Gambia's SSR process. Elected for change, the transitional government of the Gambia declared strong commitment to the reform of the security sector. EU Ambassador to the Gambia Attila Lajos weighs in on the current state of the Gambia security sector 3 years since the demise of Jammeh's regime.
Is practically no visible reform in the last 3 years in the country in the security sector. What I see now is the unwillingness to prioritize areas within the security sector for fast-tracked reform, and I see how this is undermining public support and the long-term sustainability of the process. Most of all, I see now how easy it might be to slip back into the old notions.
Of recent, police-civil confrontations have been quite sour. For many Gambians, change should be visible and felt. Special Advisor to the President, Honorable May Ahmad Fati, assures that change is visible. He says that although security reform is at a slow pace, it is indeed happening compared to the previous regime.
We do not have anybody in our prisons today who are not going through the judicial system or who have not appeared before a court of law. That is clear. When they are arrested, you are released within the prescribed constitutional period. That is very visible.
He further spoke on the challenges faced by the SSR process, majorly involving resistance from some security apparatus from a dictatorial mindset, and how they conduct themselves to one that serves a democracy. Another challenge, he states, is that democracy has been misconceived by civilians, as there is much disregard for the rule of law. In an effort to strengthen democratic participation, the SSR Forum will hold a 3-section dialogue series aimed at providing space to discuss concerns, gaps, and priorities related to security, explore ways to improve democratic representation, involvement, and access to information related to the security sector decision-making. For QTV News, I am Aisha Jan.
Meanwhile, the head coach of the Gambia national team, Tom Saintfiet, has unveiled his squad for the double-legged World Cup preliminary qualifiers against Angola on Friday, September 6th at the Independence Stadium. Notable players such as Modu Barrow, Babukar Steve Trawale, Suleiman Mare and Hamza Barry have been left out again. Mahmoud Gajaga was at the event and he now reports.
In another show of defiance, the Scorpions coach defended his team selection when one of his fierce critics, Ibrahima Kampo-Jata, asked why did the coach selected Ibrahima Sohna, Pamodu Jane and Mamoudou Fouti Danso, who are without a club at the moment, instead of players who are playing week in, week out.
First of all, I have no control if a player play in a club or not. A club can play with 3 defenders and doesn't need wing backs. A club can play with 1 striker or with 5 strikers. I have no control over it. A coach in a club can have a different philosophy of a player, and I explained it already earlier in this press conferences. I have no control if players play in the club. But if a player is suitable, has the qualities, and deliver the performance for me in my tactical demands, it would be ridiculous not to select him because his club coach doesn't like him, who has different demands, and I don't blame any club coach. Every coach has his own ideas about how to play, systems he chooses, and the quality of players. But if this player suits in my system and my demands, it would be wrong not to select him and only select someone who is not suitable for me, but who is playing week in, week out. First of all, I have no control.
The coach took a swipe at journalists, saying they shouldn't advocate for their friends, referring to players to be selected, rather should support the current squad.
I follow your shows, I see it online. Even if we win, you still criticize because you have your people. And that's your choice. That's your choice. We are here responsible for it. We do the job. Until now, we do the job very well. So criticize. If I select your friends and we lose, people criticize me also. I'm not here to select friends. I'm here to select a team who perform. Until now, this team performs very well. As long as the team perform, let's give confidence on the players who do the job, instead of giving friends and other benefits of people chances in the national team.
Questions have always been asked why players such as Modu Barrow, Hamza Barry and Babukar Steve Trawale have been snubbed when it comes to national team selection since the coach was appointed a year ago. He has this response.
See any reason to meet players who never answered my call from day one I don't see any reason for that. If you ask me a question and I never answer your question, and I ask you a question, you will also not answer my question. So if the player want to talk to me, if Steve Trawali, Modu Barrow or Hamza Barry want to talk to me, they can call me. They have my phone number. But I'm not begging them to play. I don't need to beg anyone to play for his country. How ashamed are you to beg people, please play for your country? I think as a fan you must be offended that someone refused to play for your country, to wear that shirt, that logo, to hear that anthem. I mean, normally you have to beg to play in the national team and not the opposite way around. It's your country, it's a call from your nation to defend your country to the opposite world, to your enemies. Your country even playing for your national team helps you in the future to get bigger contracts in Europe.
The winner over the two legs will get into the group phase of the 2022 World Cup qualifiers, in which 5 teams will qualify to represent the continent of Africa in the World Cup. Mamudu Gajaga, QTV News.
And before we end this bulletin of the news, let's take a quick look at our main stories. Thousands of Gambians paid their last respect to former President Sadauda Kairaba Jawara as he was laid to rest this evening. The man, described by many as the father of the nation, died at the age of 95 on Tuesday. After what appears to be a serious failure when a loaded truck almost plunged into the river amid a broken ramp at the Banjul Ferry Terminal on Wednesday, the Gambia Ports Authority dismissed social media comments saying it is not as serious as thought. And Gambia's national team coach unveils his squad to face Angola in a World Cup qualifier. There is still no place for Modu Barrow, Babukar Steve Trawale and Hamza Bari. That's all we have for you in this edition of the news. Join us tomorrow for more news. Until then, bye for now.